This organization is one of the oldest, one of the largest, and one of the most successful criminal organizations in the world. They are the Yakuza. Yakuza origins can almost date back to the 17th century, which makes them one of the oldest criminal groups. Back then, they weren't called the Yakuza. Some considered to trace themselves back to the Kabuki-mono with their strange hairstyles, vulgar speech, and bad behavior. Others traced their heritage back to people who were like Japanese Robin Hoods, vigilante groups known as the Machi-Yako. But now the criminal organization is most known by a name that came from a gambling game called Oichokabu. It's a simple game played by many that is similar to blackjack, but in this game you add up to 19. The numbers 8, Yatsu, 9, Ku, and 3, San were combined and altered to create the word Yaku-san. Those three numbers add up to 20, which in this game is actually worth nothing. The word Yakuza then refers to the members of the organization as those who feel as if they have no worth to society. Look at the people of Japan. Can you actually tell which of them are Yakuza or not by judging their social acceptance? Can you tell that businessman walking down the sidewalk is actually a high officer of the Yakuza? Not really, unless he's pretty obvious about it or you know some things. Like they either have the tips of their fingers cut off, they slur, and swear like an American sailor, or they have a beautiful tattoo called an irezumi that covers their whole body like a bodysuit with designs like koi, cherry blossoms, dragons, just beautiful designs. But you're not actually going to see their tattoo unless they're parading it around like it's not a big deal. Even then, how would you know if they're a high officer in the Yakuza or not? There's more than 110,000 members in the Yakuza, and over 270 dozen groups in the organization, 5 of them actually being worth mentioned. Those clans are then split up into their own families, starting with their father, the boss, the oyabun, and his wife, the older sister, the yonesan. Next would be the saikomono, the advisor, the wakagashira, the child, and the shaitegashira, the brother. Each one of those bosses have their own gangs called children or brothers, and those children and brothers have their own gangs called children and brothers, and so on. So even if you do happen to be a Yakuza member, unless you're really high up in the economic status, the chances that you'll actually meet someone as important as the oyabun is highly unlikely. You'll have to ask everyone in Japan, even the whole world, because they're everywhere and so influential. Even if they're banned in many places, their influence showed during World War II. The Yakuza actually arranged a legalized opium peddling business between the military and the underground world, which actually raised funds for the Japanese war effort and gave thousands of Japanese people jobs. Large companies such as Mitsui and Suzuki were actually involved in the opium monopoly bureau, but even though sometimes the Yakuza are helpful to the Japanese, they are of course as bad, maybe even worse to it. With thousands of members in the Yakuza with billions of dollars, how can the organization not make a big impact on Japanese society?